From the KATC Weatherland, here's Rob's forecast.
Welcome back. Well, feeling pretty good out there right now and relatively quiet in Acadiana, so we could talk a little bit about the tropics today. Dr. Philip Klotzbach, Colorado State Group, coming out with their updated hurricane seasonal forecast for the Atlantic Basin. Let's get to the weather wall. We'll talk a little bit more about this relatively bold forecast coming from Phil Klotzbach. At the beginning of the season, we were talking about normal or maybe a little bit below normal for hurricane season because El Nino was coming on. Well, because the temperatures are so warm in the Atlantic Basin, we'll get to this in just a bit, he's going for more accelerated numbers and a slightly above normal season for sure, with up to 9 potential hurricanes, 4 major hurricanes. Now, this is the entire Atlantic Basin. Doesn't tell you where they're going to be, whether it's Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean, or Atlantic, but we'll give you our best guess coming up. But the bottom line, his numbers coming up, and they're higher than NOAA's numbers, so that means we might be in for a little bit busier season. But these numbers are meaningless unless we have something that affects us, so we can't tell you if that's going to happen. But what's going on nearby? Well, look at this. Temperatures upper 80s to near 90 degrees out in the Gulf of Mexico. And it's not only the water temperature, but the depth of that water and the hotness of that water as you go down as well. And this year, looking similar to what we saw in 2020, 2021, back in 2005 as well. Water depth, the depth of this heat going down 500, 600, 700 feet into the Gulf of Mexico and those deep water areas and portions of the Caribbean. So even if a hurricane goes through, there's not much cool upwelling. Now, as we take a look at the El Nino area, this is El Nino right here. This is the area that we're watching. This is coming on. We know it's going to increase the shear across the Caribbean because warmer water, and by the way, anything in red here, anything that's colored, this is where 80 degree or better water temperature is. So generally in El Nino years, there's a little bit more tropical activity, more storminess in the eastern Pacific, and that increases the upper level winds that interfere with some tropical systems, can limit their intensity, also keep them from maybe entering the Gulf of Mexico and curving back to sea. But that doesn't mean we're not going to see any tropical activity locally in our region. So the other story is the Atlantic temperatures very early in the season to see 80 degree temperatures coming off the African coastline. So that is expected to offset some of El Nino. And you go to West Africa over here, there's been a little bit of a wetter pattern, so tropical disturbances that come off the Atlantic will likely develop later as we get into August, and then we'll have to watch for close by activity in between that shear zone. But prepare equally for each and every hurricane season, whether it's a busy forecast or not. Tropics right now, nice and quiet across the region, but we do have tropical moisture in the area. It's been manifesting mainly north and east of the region, where we see a lot in the way of showers and thunderstorms this evening. You can see scattered activity across the western Gulf, but some nice downpours occurring northeast Louisiana into Mississippi, and some of that shower activity and a little bit of a disturbance rolling through northern St. Landry Parish, where we're seeing light showers mainly north of the Highway 190 corridor, and then up into Avoyelles Parish, where there's some nice showers just north and west of the Marksville area. Rest of Acadiana, quiet right now. Can't rule out an isolated shower, but 10%, that's about it. Here's the big picture as we look at the upper level pattern over the next week to 10 days. High pressure gradually spreading out across from the hot southwest to the Gulf Coast. So that means hotter temperatures in the offing as we look in the 7 to 10 day time frame. Near term, as we mentioned, plenty of clouds sticking around for tomorrow. Rain chances in the 30% range. Unless we get a little bit more sun earlier in the day, then we'll have a few more storms to deal with, but it should be relatively quiet day. But there will be some rumbles of thunder, and the same goes for Saturday. More typical summer pattern, but we're starting to see those rain chances fleeting across the area. Temperatures, though, feeling good out there with dew points in the low to mid 70s tonight. Tomorrow, though, we'll punch into the lower 90s once again, depending on when we see that sun. So 76 the low overnight tonight. Quiet night ahead tomorrow. Looks to be a pretty nice day. Plenty of clouds like today. That's always a nice change, other than just plain old blazing sun, and about a 30% chance of a shower or thunderstorm. Same goes for Saturday, Sunday. Monday looks like we'll see a pretty decent chance of rain and maybe some storms. Thereafter, it starts to get drier and hotter down the line. And we won't see a heat wave yet.
No.
Maybe a
when do we get to that point?
Heat wave.
No.
There you go.
You had that stuck in my head last week for days. Here it goes again. Thanks, Rob.